One other thing that I might want you to comment on, Mills, is the reality versus the rhetoric on who is to blame, perhaps. And then we can go into some of the coalition stuff and we can maybe open it up to the floor. But who is to blame? And this was an interesting number that you shared with us, Ray, that who is to blame, and increasingly in your sample that you used, and I suspect that maybe the sample was skewed in favor of the youth, but I can't, I'm just looking at, I'm projecting here. But who is to blame? It was perhaps the governing, the governing party, or basically the regime at the helm over the last 30 years. This is a complete contradiction to the rhetoric that comes out of the ANC, of course, because there's a lot of that. Of course, I'm being a little bit provocative here with you, Mills, just in case you didn't pick it up. But I think that's a very, very interesting number, given because it's quite a big difference between that blame factor. And we see that as soon as campaigning starts, and when there's an excuse for things that a lack of service delivery and everything, we have other external issues at hand, which, I mean, yes, the rest of the world is suffering from external issues, but there's always reference to legacy and history that is put up as a blame factor on a lack of delivery from the ruling government.
You know, we do acknowledge that we come from a certain history.
Yeah.
You know, it's history of apartheid, which left this country with a very nefarious legacy. You know, inequality, you know, all these things, right? But we cannot continue to blame apartheid. It's almost 30 years since we became a democracy. Almost 30 years. And the ANC has enjoyed, I'm thinking about the Mandela regime, I'm thinking about the Mbeki governments, you know, enjoyed electoral success that is remarkable, that gave the party the mandate to transform this country, to drive growth, to do all these things, to fix our public infrastructure, to fix our public health hospitals, our schools, and all those things. And we have the resources to do so, right? But it's very clear that the ANC has failed to do that. And the ANC currently, and that is why it's exciting to talk about this coalition government, it's very clear that the ANC is incapable of governing South Africa, right? It's not about picking on the ANC. It's for all of us to see. Just look at how the city of Johannesburg is run. Look at the state of state-owned enterprises. Look at the state of, it's for all, even the ANC, those who are honest with it, they will tell you things are not working. So we cannot wish the ANC away. It obviously lose support in the forthcoming election, but it remains, and that's the point we make, it remains a force, a political force. But it cannot be allowed to govern on its own, right? Because it doesn't have the capabilities to do so. So we need a reform-minded coalition government with a very clear agenda, you know, growth agenda, with a very clear agenda to reform the public service, with a very clear agenda to deal with the problems that plague state-owned enterprises, you know, to reform the electricity sector so that we can reduce the risk of load shedding. We can also, you know, accelerate the transition to renewable energies, to reform the digital communication sector so that we can reduce the cost of data and bandwidth, and also expand access to the internet for low-income household. There's a whole lot of things, the water infrastructure, the visa regime, and all these things. That requires a reform-minded government that will implement that, not just talk about it. Because, you know, but Ramaphosa talks about it, but it doesn't do anything about it. We need a government that's going, we are going to make decisions, and these are tough decisions, but, you know, we are giving you hope. We want to give you hope that things will turn out better for the future. And the hope is not there. Leadership is about giving hope, and hope is not there currently.